most successful people you know have a dirty secret, and it's not what you think. They don't rely on motivation. In fact, they've discovered that motivation is actually a warning sign that your system is broken. Motivation is a luxury, not a necessity. Elite performer mindset. Look, I get it. You've probably watched dozens of motivational videos, felt that surge of energy, maybe even started a new routine, only to find yourself back at square one within 72 hours. I used to be the same way. I get pumped up, create these massive action plans, then wonder why I couldn't stick to anything longer than a Netflix series. But here's what most people get completely wrong about high performance. They think the Navy SEALs, elite athletes, and top CEOs are just more motivated than everyone else. The truth? They've built what I call mental armor. A system so bulletproof that motivation becomes irrelevant. If you remember one thing from this video, let it be this. Consistency isn't about feeling good. It's about building infrastructure. Stanford University research shows that people who rely on systems instead of motivation are 300% more likely to achieve their long-term goals. This framework is used by Navy SEALs, Olympic athletes, and Fortune 500 CEOs, not because they're superhuman, but because they understand something most people miss entirely. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you the exact 6-pillar system that makes you virtually immune to the ups and downs of daily motivation. By the end, you'll have a practical blueprint for becoming the type of person who shows up regardless of mood, circumstances, or external pressures. But first, have you ever noticed how some people seem to have unlimited willpower while others burn out after 3 days? Drop a comment if you've experienced this motivation crash cycle. Pillar 1. The motivation mirage theory. Here's the first pillar that changes everything. Motivation is actually a warning sign. Think about it like this. When you feel physical pain, it's your body telling you something's wrong. When you need motivation to do something important, it's your mind telling you that your behavioral infrastructure is broken. Picture Sarah, scrolling through Instagram at 11 p.m., seeing fitness influencers and thinking, tomorrow I'll start my workout routine. She feels that familiar surge of motivation, but by Thursday, she's already making excuses. Problem: Sarah is building her fitness goals on emotional quicksand. Agitation: every time she fails, she blames herself for lacking willpower. Solution: she needs to build a motivation-free system. Here's what neuroscience reveals. Motivation activates the same brain regions as addiction. It's chemically unsustainable. But habit loops? They bypass the motivation centers entirely, using automated neural pathways. You're not building discipline. You're building right now. Identify one area where you currently wait for motivation. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's that side project. Now ask yourself, how could I design a motivation-free version that requires zero emotional energy? But knowing this isn't enough. Most people still fight their environment every single day, and that's exactly why they burn out. Pillar 2. Environmental gravity manipulation. Strategy 2 of 6. Instead of fighting your environment, engineer it to pull you toward good behaviors automatically. Think of your environment like gravity. Right now, your surroundings are probably pulling you toward Netflix, junk food, and endless scrolling. But what if you could flip that gravitational field? Meet Marcus, a software developer who couldn't stick to his morning routine. Instead of relying on willpower, he made one simple change. He put his workout clothes on his coffee maker. Now he literally cannot make coffee without seeing his gym gear. I used to keep my phone next to my bed, then wonder why I'd scroll for 30 minutes instead of reading. The environment was stronger than my intentions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Adapt yourself to the life you've been given, but love the people with whom you share it." But here's the modern twist. You get to design the life you're adapting to. Environmental cues trigger 95% of our daily behaviors below conscious awareness. This means changing your environment literally changes your behavior without willpower expenditure. Your environment is your silent partner. Make sure it's on your team. Pick one space in your home right now. Redesign it, so the behavior you want becomes the path of least resistance. Remove friction for good habits. Add friction for bad ones. But even with the perfect environment, most people are still trying to change outcomes instead of identity. And that's why they plateau. Pillar 3. The 2% Identity Shift Protocol. Secret 3 of 6. Stop setting outcome goals. Start making identity shifts. Here's the difference. Instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, you say, I'm becoming someone who prioritizes health. Instead of, I want to write a book, you say, I'm becoming a writer. Problem. Outcome goals rely on external validation and distant rewards. Agitation. When you don't see immediate results, you quit. Solution. Identity-based change creates internal motivation that compounds daily. Jennifer used to say, I need to get in shape. She'd work out for 2 weeks, see minimal changes, and quit. Then she shifted to, I'm someone who moves my body daily. Same actions, completely different psychological foundation. 6 months later, she's in the best shape of her life. You're not building habits. You're collecting evidence of who you're becoming. Each small action becomes a vote for the type of person you want to be. Miss one day, that's one vote. But if you show up the next day, you're still winning the election. Choose one micro-behavior, 2 minutes or less, that represents your desired identity. Then do it daily, for 7 days, to establish the neural pathway. Not to achieve a result, but to prove to yourself who you're becoming. But here's what nobody tells you about building new identities. You will fail sometimes, and most people let that derail everything. Pillar 4. Failure Integration Architecture. Strategy 4 of 6. Build failure recovery into your system from day one. Think about cars. Engineers don't design them hoping they'll never crash. They build in airbags, crumple zones, and safety systems because they know accidents happen. Yet most people design their goals like they're going to have perfect execution forever. That's not planning, that's hoping. David wanted to meditate daily. Old approach, I'll meditate for 20 minutes every morning. He missed one day, felt like a failure, quit. New approach, I'll meditate daily, and when I miss a day, I'll do 5 minutes that same evening. He's now meditated 340 days out of the last 365. Here's what psychological research reveals. People who anticipate obstacles and plan responses are 2 times more likely to achieve their goals than those who assume smooth progress. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the raw material for resilience. I used to think missing one workout meant I'd broken my streak. Now I know that bouncing back quickly is actually a strength multiplier. Create if-then protocols. If I miss my morning routine, then I'll do a 5-minute version before bed. If I eat junk food, then I'll drink extra water and get right back on track. If I skip writing, then I'll write 1 paragraph before checking email. Right now, think about your most likely failure scenario. Write down exactly what you'll do when, not if, it happens. Make failure part of your system, not the enemy of it. But even with failure-proof systems, most people are still working harder instead of smarter, and that's where keystone habits come in. Pillar 5, the keystone habit multiplier effect. Secret 5 of 6. Find the one behavior that triggers multiple positive changes across your entire life. In architecture, remove the keystone from an arch and the whole structure collapses. Install a keystone habit in your life, and your entire lifestyle elevates without additional effort. Rachel started making her bed every morning. Seems tiny, right? But within a month, she noticed her entire bedroom was cleaner. Then her morning routine improved. Then she started planning her days better. One 2-minute habit created a success cascade across multiple. You're reprogramming your identity algorithm. Common keystone habits. Morning routine affects energy, focus, confidence. Daily movement impacts mood, sleep, discipline. Evening planning influences productivity, stress, intentionality. Seneca wrote about the power of morning reflection. He understood that certain practices create ripple effects throughout your entire day. Audit your daily routine right now. Find one 15-minute habit that could positively impact at least 3 different areas of your life: physical health, mental clarity, and productivity. That's your target. What's one habit that's had the biggest ripple effect in your life? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. But here's where most people sabotage themselves. They try to do everything at once and burn out their mental energy. Pillar 6. Energy audit and allocation. Treat willpower like a finite energy resource that must be strategically allocated, not randomly spent. Think of your mental energy like a smartphone battery. You wouldn't run every app at once and wonder why it dies by noon. Yet that's exactly what most people do with their willpower. Tom used to try tackling his hardest tasks at 8 p.m. after a full day of decisions. He'd blame himself for lack of discipline. Then he discovered his peak energy was 9 to 11 a.m. Same person, same tasks, completely different results. Glucose depletion in the brain creates decision fatigue. By protecting your mental energy for what matters most, you maintain consistent performance throughout the day. Elite performers batch their most challenging behaviors during peak energy windows and automate everything else. Energy management is the ultimate force multiplier. For the next 3 days, track your energy levels hourly from 1 to 10. Then permanently schedule your most important behavior during your highest energy time window. This is the difference between trying harder and trying smarter. Here's what this all comes down to. The ancient Stoics understood something we've forgotten in our dopamine-driven world. True power isn't about controlling external circumstances. It's about designing internal systems that make you unshakable. You've just learned the 6 pillars of mental armor. Motivation mirage, systems over feelings. Environmental gravity, design your surroundings 2%. Identity shifts, become, don't just do. Failure integration, plan for imperfection. Keystone habits, 1 change, multiple benefits. Energy allocation, protect your mental resources. But here's the real secret. These aren't separate strategies, they're interconnected. You can't master your environment until you understand energy allocation. You can't build keystone habits until you shift your identity. You can't integrate failure until you stop relying on motivation. You're not just someone who knows about mental armor now. You're someone who builds it. You're not just someone who understands systems, you live by them. Modern stress is ancient fear repackaged. Your peace is not negotiable. Guard it like a warrior. The question isn't whether you'll face challenges. The question is whether you'll face them with armor or skin. Choose wisely. If this changed how you think about consistency, subscribe for more mental clarity content. And if you're ready to go deeper, check out the video on building unshakable habits. It's the perfect next step.